You think your kitchen is clean. Japan would disagree. Not because you're lazy. You're not. You probably wiped the counter tonight, ran the dishwasher, took the trash out. By American standards, your kitchen is fine. But there are 7 things happening in that room right now. Ordinary things. Things you've done your whole life without a second thought. And every one of them would stop a Japanese person cold. Some would confuse them. A couple would honestly discuss them. Here's the strange part. Most of these habits have nothing to do with being dirty. They're about something deeper. A completely different idea of what a kitchen even is. Stay till number 5. Because that one isn't about cleanliness at all. It's something almost all of you did just this week without noticing. Number 7 is the one that quietly shapes how your entire next morning feels, before you're even awake. And number 3? Number 3 is sitting under your sink right now. At the very end, I'll give you something called the Midnight Kitchen Test. 30 seconds tonight, before you go to bed. It'll tell you more about your relationship with your own home than all 7 of these habits combined. So walk into your kitchen with me. Look around. Really look. Let's start with the floor. Before the list, one idea. Because without it, none of this makes sense. Picture a small apartment in Tokyo. 25 square meters, maybe less. It's 7 in the evening. A pot of water is just starting to whisper on the stove. There's a soft yellow light near the front door, where 2 pairs of slippers sit perfectly straight on a small step called the genkan. In that kitchen, there's an idea living quietly in the background. The Japanese call it Meiwaku. It roughly means the trouble, the burden that your actions place on others. And on the space around you, not just people. The space itself. A Japanese kitchen isn't a factory for producing meals fast. It's a place you're responsible to. You don't just use it. You keep a relationship with it. Hold on to that word. Meiwaku. Because every habit on this list, all 7 of them, is really the same question asked 7 different ways. Are you treating this room like a machine? Or like a place that's treating you back? Now. The floor. The first 3 are about one single thing you probably never think about. What actually touches your food. Watch how fast this gets uncomfortable. Look down at your feet. If you're standing in your kitchen right now, you might be wearing the same shoes you wore outside today. On the sidewalk, in the parking lot, in a public bathroom maybe. In Japan, this simply does not happen. Not in the kitchen, not anywhere inside the home. It starts at the genkan, the sunken entryway just inside the front door. Shoes come off there. Always. The genkan is a border. Outside stays outside. And the floor of the home, the floor your food might drop onto, stays a completely different kind of clean. Think about what's on the bottom of your shoes right now. Now think about the piece of pasta that rolls off the counter, and you follow the 5-second rule, and you eat it anyway. In a Japanese home, that floor never met the street. In yours, it did. Every single day. The shift. Your kitchen floor isn't dirty because you're messy. It's dirty because you carried the outside in and forgot to leave it at the door. Now look at your sink. There it is. One sponge. Damp, a little gray around the edges, sitting in a shallow pool of its own water. You use it for the dishes. And the counter. And that spill on the floor. And the inside of the trash can. One sponge. Everything. A Japanese kitchen looks at that sponge and sees something else entirely. Japanese homes often use a fuken, a thin cloth that gets washed, wrung out hard, and hung up to dry completely between uses. The key word is dry. A wet sponge left sitting in the sink is a warm, damp, dark little world. And things grow there. You already know this, somewhere. That faint smell when you lift the sponge toward your nose. That is not the smell of a clean kitchen. That is the smell of the one object you use to clean everything, quietly becoming the dirtiest thing in the room. The shift. A sponge that's always wet was never cleaning your kitchen. It was just moving the same water around. Now, reach under your sink. Feel for the switch on the wall next to it. The garbage disposal. You scrape the plate, flip the switch, and the leftover food roars away and disappears. Gone. You never think about it again. In most Japanese homes, that machine does not exist. The idea of it is almost strange. Part of that is a concept called motenai, a deep discomfort with waste, a sense that throwing something away carelessly is a small wrong. Food isn't roared down a pipe. It's separated, drained, wrapped, sorted into the right bin on the right day. Because in Japan, garbage sorting is taken seriously, and getting it wrong is a form of Meiwaku, a burden on your neighbors. So while you make food vanish with the flip of a switch, a Japanese kitchen makes you look at it, face it, decide what it was and where it goes. It's slower. It is also the exact reason waste never quietly piles up out of sight. The shift. The disposal didn't get rid of your waste. It just taught you to stop seeing it. So far, we've stayed on the surface. Shoes, a sponge, a switch. Things you can point to. But the next two aren't about objects at all. They're about how you treat the food itself. And number 5 is the one you did this week without even noticing. Picture your plate at dinner. Really picture it. The way it's loaded. Meat pushed to the rim. A mountain of pasta. The sides fighting each other for room. A full plate feels right. A full plate feels like care. Serve that same plate in a traditional Japanese home, and something feels off. Not wrong, exactly. Just a lot. There's a phrase for the alternative. Hara Hachi bu. Eat until you are 80% full, not stuffed, not empty. 80%, and then you stop. Before your body has even finished telling you it's had enough. The American plate isn't sized for your hunger. It's sized for the plate. We eat to the edge of the ceramic, not the edge of our appetite. And then we wonder why we feel heavy, foggy, and tired an hour later. That heaviness isn't a mystery. It's just the last 20% you never needed. The shift. You were never taught to listen to your body. You were taught to finish your plate. Here's number 5. And you did this week, maybe today. You ate while doing something else. Walking to your car, standing at the counter, scrolling your phone, driving with a sandwich in one hand and the wheel in the other. In Japan, eating while walking has a name. And it is not a compliment. Tabearuki, eating while walking around. In much of Japan, it's quietly frowned upon. Food is something you stop for. You sit. You put it down in front of you. You give it the 2 minutes it's owed. Now pause here, because I know exactly what you're thinking. That seems extreme. It's a snack, not a ceremony. And honestly, a lot of younger Japanese people would agree with you. You'll see people eating on the go in Tokyo now, more than ever. So this isn't a rule. It's a question. The question is this. When did eating become the thing you do while you're doing the real thing? When did the meal quietly become the background? Because a meal eaten standing over the sink isn't really a meal. It's refueling. And a life made entirely of refueling is exhausting in a way you can't quite put your finger on. The shift. Food you eat while walking feeds your body and starves the part of you that just needed to sit down. Those first 5 all live in the daytime. The meals, the movement, the busy hours. But the last 2 happen in the quiet. In the cold water you drink. And in the kitchen you leave behind at night. And number 7 is the one that decides how tomorrow morning feels before you've even opened your eyes. Remember, the midnight kitchen test is coming, and number 7 is where it lives. Open your freezer. Hear that? The ice maker. In America, ice is the default. Water comes cold. Soda comes over ice. Even in the dead of winter, the glass is full of cubes. Cold is just how drinks are. Walk into a lot of Japanese homes and you'll be handed something warm instead. Even in summer. Warm tea, warm water, room temperature at the very least. In Japanese belief, there's a long-held idea that ice-cold drinks shock the body, that the stomach does its work better warm, and that flooding it with ice makes it struggle. Now, whether or not you buy the energy side of that, just think about it practically for a second. A warm drink makes you slow down. You can't gulp it. You hold the cup. You sip. You breathe over it. A tall glass of ice water, you can drain in 10 seconds without ever once pausing. One of those is a drink. The other is a small moment. Guess which one your nervous system actually needed? And yes, plenty of Japanese people love an ice-cold beer on a hot night. Nobody's pretending otherwise. This isn't about never touching ice again. It's about noticing that you reach for cold on autopilot and almost never once for warm. The shift. Cold water hydrates you in 10 seconds. Warm water asks you to stay for 2 minutes. Only one of those is rest. And here's number 7. Look at your sink one more time, but imagine it tonight, at 11 at night. The dishes from dinner still sitting there. I'll do them in the morning. The pan soaking, crumbs across the counter. You flip off the light and walk away. Now picture a different kitchen near midnight in Japan. The counter wiped dry, not a single streak on it. The sink empty. Every dish put away. There's a specific kind of silence in a kitchen that's been finished for the night. And someone made that silence on purpose. The habit behind it connects to something bigger. Usuji, the deep, complete clean, the mindset that a space should be reset, not just survived. You don't need to scrub for an hour. It's smaller than that. It's the simple choice to close the day out instead of letting it leak into tomorrow. Because here's what those dishes in the sink really are. They're a message you leave for yourself. When you walk into that kitchen at 7 the next morning, tired, uncaffeinated, already behind, the very first thing you meet is last night's mess. And it whispers something to you. It says you were too worn out to care about yourself last night. And now you're too worn out again. That's how a whole day begins, with a small, quiet debt you don't remember signing. Every single morning. The shift. The kitchen you leave tonight is the kitchen that greets you tomorrow. You're not cleaning up after dinner. You're setting the tone for a morning you haven't even lived yet. And that's the thing underneath all 7. A kitchen isn't where you make food. It's where you decide how you treat yourself. So here's what I promised you, the midnight kitchen test. It takes 30 seconds. Tonight, right before bed, go and stand in the doorway of your kitchen. Don't clean anything yet. Just look. And ask yourself one question. If a stranger walked in right now, would this room look like someone was taken care of here? That's it. You'll know the answer instantly. And the answer was never really about your dishes. It's about you. Because none of these 7 habits are really about Japan, or shoes, or sponges, or ice. They're all the same quiet idea, said 7 different ways. A kitchen isn't where you make food. It's where you decide how you treat yourself. Read that one more time. A kitchen isn't where you make food. It's where you decide how you treat yourself. Remember where we started? Those shoes by the sink, carrying the whole outside world onto the floor where your food lands. That was never really about the shoes. It was about the border. The line between the chaos out there and the one room that's supposed to take care of you. So, tell me, 1 through 7, in the comments. Which number stopped you cold? Be honest. And if you know someone whose kitchen you've stood in, someone who runs themselves ragged and leaves the dishes every single night, share this with them. not to fix them, just so they know that one small room has been quietly asking them a question this whole time. Good night. Go look at your kitchen.